because I've got with me Jimmy Nguyen. He's the CEO of nChain Group, which is a blockchain research and development firm. Very good to have you with me in the studio, Jimmy. Also, to welcome to Manila.
Thank you. Thank you for having me from Los Angeles. So I love the weather here.
So nChain is a research and development group focusing on blockchain. In broad strokes, tell me exactly where you think the Philippines is in the development cycle as far as cryptocurrencies go. Are we headed in the right direction?
I think the Philippines is in the early stages of adopting cryptocurrency generally and blockchain technology. So there's not that many online exchanges here for consumers to go out and buy virtual currencies. I'm hoping to see more so that people can participate in this virtual currency wave.
Headed in the right direction, then, you think?
I think it is headed in the right direction. This is the perfect market for virtual currency. I know the BSP issued some guidance recently to warn people to be careful about investing in virtual currency. In addition to recognizing the risk, it recognized the value for a country like the Philippines for three reasons. One, remittance and wire transfers can be much cheaper and more efficient, and that's important to the Philippines.
In that sense, blockchain
right.
is the perfect platform for it.
It can be because, for example, using Bitcoin Cash, you can send money from anywhere in the world, Vancouver, Canada, to here in Manila, instantly for mere cents in the US or centavos here in the Philippines. You can also pay for goods on e-commerce sites. And finally, financial inclusion is a real goal of virtual currency because if you're a low-income person or live in a remote location where there are no physical bank branches, you can have a digital wallet and an account and transact and get access to financial services with virtual currency.
Well, in fact, we were listening to just a package before we got to this guesting segment of the Banco Central looking to issue more guidelines, as you pointed out. One of the requirements possibly being that anyone who issues digital wallets or maintains digital wallets will have to have capital requirements of 150 million pesos at least. When you hear of news like this, what goes through your mind? I mean, 150 million as a minimum capital sounds a little too low to me. I don't know about you.
I think, first of all, it's a good step for the government to begin sensible regulation for virtual currency. Some people in the Bitcoin world don't like that. I, particularly because I'm a former lawyer, think regulation can be a good thing and create more consumer confidence. That capital requirement is fairly low, but when you're dealing with people's money, I think it's important to require the wallet operators and exchange operators to have backing so that we avoid situations like in Japan with the Mt. Gox hack a number of years ago, and a lot of people lost their Bitcoin and didn't have recourse against the company. So I think that's probably a start, and over time, as the exchanges and wallets get bigger, they'll probably raise the capital requirement. I think that's a sensible step.
Let's talk about one of the most popular virtual currencies, Bitcoin, being that. The Bank of America says Bitcoin is the biggest bubble in history, and it is popping. Taking a look at where we are right now. Look at those peaks and valleys right there. We are down about 65% from the peak in December. That's where this point is, down to just under, 6,800 at the moment. On the other side of it, on the other side of the fence, you have people still holding on to their forecast, saying, no, it's going to hit $35,000 in the near term. Where do you sit on that debate?
Well, I do think that the price of the old Bitcoin Core, went up way too fast last year. It went up 1,300+% in less than a year. And I think a lot of that was just due to media frenzy and speculation, people wanting to get on this bandwagon. For something to have long-term value, it needs to have usage and limited supply and scarcity. We think the long-term value is in the new variant of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, not Bitcoin Core, which has become less usable, slower, higher fees, and not the global peer-to-peer electronic cash currency it was born to be. So personally, I think that peak happened when the futures market started in the United States, and that led to a frenzy of buying. And it's come down to earth, I think, in a sensible way. I think long-term Bitcoin Core may have some value, but I'm betting on Bitcoin Cash for the win.
In short, for Bitcoin Core, you don't think we're ever going to hit these numbers again?
I think it's unlikely because the purpose of Bitcoin is now being advanced by our company and many other groups around the world in the new form of Bitcoin Cash to make it usable as a daily currency. That's what will make the value go up to that peak and even higher, I think, long-term for Bitcoin Cash. Since there's a competitor now to Bitcoin Core that's doing the same thing better, I think that Bitcoin Core's days are going to be more limited. It may have value as a long-term store of value, like a digital gold, but not as something you could use on daily life.
I knew you were going to play up Bitcoin Cash, so I thought I'd bring up the picture as well of Bitcoin Cash over the last, since February 8th at this stage. I have to point out it is also still in the doldrums at the moment, trading at around 600 levels, down about 50% again since Feb 8, 2018. What makes you think that this is going to be the virtual currency of choice? And I just want to make this absolutely clear for viewers. Bitcoin, the altcoin, and Bitcoin Cash are two separate entities.
They're two separate coins, two variants of it. Yes, they are different. One's BTC, Bitcoin Core. One's traded under Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Bitcoin Cash has also been volatile and come down, but all of the coins have over the last few months due to some market corrections. Keep in mind that Bitcoin Cash only birthed and emerged last August. It's only about 8 months old, and it started trading roughly in the $300 US range. So it did go up at one point to several thousand US dollars. Now
right
it's
around
down.
The global frenzy around cryptocurrencies.
Correct. Now it's down to about 600. So in the course of its life, it's actually done fairly well. There will be volatility. We're working to stabilize that with technology and innovation. The reason we think that will be the one for the win, and where Filipinos, we want to say, gusto ko Bitcoin Cash, is that it can be used on a daily basis. The blocks are bigger. You could fit more transactions. You can create a network like Visa and MasterCard with that level of speed to power daily transactions. The fees are super low to send Bitcoin Cash, mere cents. And when you have that level of usage, combined with a fixed supply, only 21 million Bitcoin Cash coins will ever be issued in the world. That creates, I think, long-term value. So I know all the coins are a little bit lower now, but we're betting on that for the ultimate win.
So the scarcity factor as well.
Bingo.
All right, let me ask you the million-dollar question there. What do you think is a fair market value of Bitcoin Cash?
I tell people not to worry about the price today. I tell people if they're going to invest in virtual currencies, pick something that has long-term usage and value and that you're willing to let sit for a period of time. We believe Bitcoin Cash probably could hit 10,000 US dollars at least by the end of the year. And over its long term, if it achieves a massively scaled network, could easily be 50, 100,000 US dollars and more. But that'll probably take years to get to. And I don't think it should go up really fast. That makes it too volatile. I think it needs a gradual growth, which is what we're working with many other groups to achieve for Bitcoin Cash.
All right, Jimmy, let's take a step back and talk about crypto literacy. Yeah. There was a piece of news that really spooked investors in the Philippines recently. There was this couple apparently who had scammed some 50 investors out of almost 900 million pesos. Apparently, they had promised these investors something like a crazy number, 30% returns within half a month or something. What would you say investors should watch out for as they wade into the space?
Well, first of all, never invest more than you can afford to lose. Basic investment tip. Secondly, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Never assume that when you're investing in anything, especially virtual currency, that someone can guarantee you any return in a period of time. Virtual currency is inherently volatile. So do your homework and pick a virtual currency that you think actually has usage. Most of the coins out there's over 1,000 now, way too many. They don't really have a purpose. You know, if you wanted to create a Regina coin through an ICO, it may not have any purpose.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you can create one, but make sure it has a purpose. So do your homework. There's great sites such as Bitcoin.com, run by Roger Vere's organization, the first investor in the world in Bitcoin companies. He's got great information about wallets and exchanges where you could buy virtual currency. That's a good resource. Bitcoin Cash has its own site at bitcoincash.org. There's media sites like CoinGeek, which are a big believer in the scaling of Bitcoin that has good information as well. So look for that and look for a reliable exchange. That's probably the best way to buy virtual currency.
Fantastic insights. We're going to have to leave it there. Jimmy Nguyen, CEO of nChain, a blockchain research and development firm. We thank you very much for your insights this morning.
Thanks for having me.